Welcome once again to another new video. This is Santu Sahu and you are watching Sahu's tutorial, and in this video I will be covering some important MCQ questions on English literature for the upcoming CUET PG English entrance exam. I am conducting 1000 mock tests for the upcoming CUET PG English entrance exam. This is the part 9. In the previous 8 videos I have discussed 300 important MCQ questions along with explanations. Please visit the playlist, that is CUET PG English literature mock test, and watch all those videos. I hope that you will be benefited by those videos. So without wasting any time, let's get started with this question number 301. And before starting the session, this is my humble request to all of you. Please do subscribe the channel and tap the bell icon to get more notification that I will upload in future. So here is the first question, question number 301. So the first question is that the voice of the beagle was written by J.S. Mill, Ruskin, Curley and Darwin. So the voice of the beagle, this was written by Charles Darwin. Charles Darwin has written the voice of the beagle. Next questions. The Pickwick Papers by Dickens was published in 1836, 1838, 1839, 1841. So the Pickwick Papers, this was written by Charles Dickens, and this novel was published in 1836. So here A is the right option. Moving on to question number 303. Poetry is the criticism of life is a view about poetry by Matthew Arnold, Dr. Samuel Johnson's Shelley Hazlitt. So poetry is the criticism of life is a view about poetry, and it was written by Matthew Arnold in his The Study of Poetry. The Study of Poetry. Okay, this is the name of the book where Matthew Arnold has said that poetry is the criticism of life. So Matthew Arnold, The Study of Poetry. Next questions. Adonis is an elegy on the death of Coleridge, Edward William, John Keats, Shakespeare. So it was Adonis is an elegiac poem, is an elegy. So on the death of John Keats, so here C is the right option. So here Shelley has written Adonis, and it is on the death of John Keats. So here C is the right option. Moving on to question number 305. I am half sick of the shadows. It's a line from I am half sick of shadows is a line from which of the poets' work? Shelley, Wordsworth, Coleridge, Tennyson. So it is actually it is time from Tennyson. So here D is the right options, and here is the explanations that I am half sick of shadows, said the Lady of Shalott. Is a painting by John William Waterhouse. It was completed in 1950, and it is the third painting by Waterhouse that depicts a scene from Tennyson's poem, that is the Lady of Shalott. The title of the painting is a quotation from the last two lines of the fourth and the final words of the second part of the Tennyson's poem. So by the way, this quotation is from Tennyson's poem, The Lady of Shalott. Next question is Mansfield Park is a novel by Catherine Mansfield, Emily Bronte, George Eliot, Jane Austen. So Mansfield Park is a novel written by Jane Austen. Jane Austen is written Mansfield Park. Next questions. The Quarterly Review was founded by John Moore, Byron, Coleridge, Thomas Dickens. So the Quarterly Review was founded by John Moore. John Moore is the right option. Next questions, and here is the explanation. The Quarterly Review was a literary and political periodical founded in March 1809 by London publishing house John Middleton Murray, and it stopped publication in 1967. It was referred to as the London Quarterly Review, as reprinted by Leonard Scott for an American edition. So by the way, the Quarterly Review was founded by whom? John Middleton Murray. Next questions. The Lay of the Last Minstrel is written by William Blake and Byron, Tennyson's Walter Scott. So the Lay of the Last Minstrel is written by Walter Scott. So here D is the right options, and here is the explanation that the Lay of the Last Minstrel is a narrative poem in 6 cantos. So it has 6 cantos by Walter Scott with copious antiquarian notes by Walter Scott. Set in the Scottish borders in the mid-16th century, it is represented within the work as being sung by a minstrel late in the 60s. So here Lay of the Last Minstrel is a work by Walter Scott, and it has 6 cantos. Next questions. Who coined the term pathetic fallacy? Thomas Carlyle, Lamb, John Ruskin, Shelley. So it was John Ruskin has coined the term pathetic fallacy in his work Modern Painters. So the name of the work is Modern Painters, and in these works, John Ruskin has coined the term pathetic fallacy. Next questions. Here is the explanation. The English cultural critic John Ruskin coined the term in the third volume of his work Modern Painters. Moving on to question number 310. The lines, that is the one remains, the many change and pass. Heaven's Light Forever Shines, Earth's Shadow Fly are composed by Shelley, Byron, Keats, Sadi. So it is actually Shelley. Shelley has written these lines on Adonis. So Adonis is a elegiac poem on the death of Keats. So yeah, Shelley is the right option. Next questions. Wordsworth was appointed poet laureate in which year? 1843, 1839, 1817, 1849. So Wordsworth was appointed poet laureate in 1843. So A is the right option. Next questions. Who suggested Shelley carve your magnanimity and be more of a poet? Who suggested Shelley to carve your magnanimity and be more of a poet? Was it Wordsworth? No. Who else did you know? Keats, Blake. So it was Keats. Keats had said that to carve your magnanimity and be more of a poet on Shelley. So here is the explanations that Shelley actually wrote to Keats after reading his first publications, Endymion. So admonishing him that in poetry I have sought to avoid system and mannerism. And then Keats replied tartly by saying that you might carve your magnanimity and be more of an artist and load every rib of your subject with ore. Okay. Next questions. Revel was a biographer of whom? Edmund Spenser, John Donne, Sir Philip Sidney, John Middleton Murray. So John Milton. So Revel was a biographer of Edmund Spenser. So here A is the right options. And here are the explanations that Revel is best known today as the biographer of Sir Philip Sidney and for his sober poetry which presents dark, thoughtful and distinctly Calvinist views on art, literature, beauty and other philosophical matters. So Revel is the biographer of Sir Philip Sidney. Next questions. What is Fairy Queen? Fairy Queen is Spenser's magnum opus poem, was an epic poem, ballad, a sonnet. So Fairy Queen is an allegorical poem. So here A is the right options. And here is the explanation. The Fairy Queen is an English epic poem by Edmund Spenser. Books. So there is an options epic, an epic as well as an allegorical poem. So here two options are right actually here, an epic poem and an allegorical poem. Okay. The Fairy Queen is an epic poem in Edmund Spenser's book. Book 1 and 3 were first published in 1950. Book 1 and 3 were published in 1950, then republished in 1596 together with books 4 to 6. 3 other books were added in the second edition that was published in 1596. So in the first edition there were 3 books in 1590 and the second edition was published in 1596 with another 3 books. So there are total 6 books. So it is actually an incomplete book. It is the Fairy Queen is an incomplete book, and the Fairy Queen is notable for its form at over 36,000 lines and over 4,000 stanzas. It is one of the longest poems in the English language. It is also the work in which Shakespeare invented the first form, Spenserian stanza. So Spenserian stanza has 9 lines. Spenserian stanza has 9 lines. On a literal level, the poem follows several lines as a means to examine different virtues. Thought text is primarily allegorical. So this is an allegorical work. So I told earlier that it is an epic poem as well as an allegorical poem. It can be read on several levels of allegory, including as praise or later criticism of Queen Elizabeth I. So in Spenser's letters to the authors, he states that the entire epic poem is cloudily enwrapped in allegorical devices, and that the aim of publishing the Fairy Queen was to fashion a gentleman, that means to teach a gentleman or a noble person in virtuous and great discipline. So this was the aim. The aim of Fairy Queen was to fashion a gentleman or a noble person in virtuous and gentle discipline. Moving on to question number 315. Which book Edmund Spenser dedicated to Philip Sidney? The Fairy Queen, the Shepherd's Calendar, Complaints, Colin Cloud's Come Home Again. So it is the Shepherd's Calendar. The Shepherd's Calendar was dedicated to Philip Sidney and was written by Edmund Spenser. It is question number 316. So the first regular English comedy based on the model of the Latin comedy is attributed to Nicholas Udall, Thomas Cowell, Lord Berkeley. So it is Nicholas Udall. Nicholas Udall is the right options. Next questions. In the tragic history of Dr. Faustus, Faustus was a German scholar, French scholar, Spanish scholar, Greek scholar. So the tragic history of Dr. Faustus written by Christopher Marlowe. Here that is Faustus was a German scholar. Faustus was a German scholar. Next questions. Which of the Marlowe's plays were written in collaborations with Thomas Nabbs? So Queen of Carthage, the Passionate Shepherd, the Tragedy of Dido, Queen of Carthage, the Passionate Shepherd and the Tragedy of Dido, Queen of Carthage and the Massacre at Paris. So it is actually the Tragedy of Dido, Queen of Carthage, was written in collaborations with Thomas Nash. Next questions: who proposed that a poet should be banished from the ideal republic? Plato, Aristotle, Socrates, Sidney, Thomas More. So it was Plato who proposed that poets should be banished from the ideal republic. So here Plato is the right option. Moving on to question number 320. This literary critic has warned that we must remember that the greater part of our current reading matter is written for us by people who have no real belief in a supernatural order, and the greater part is coming to be written by people who not only have no such belief but are even ignorant of what the fact that there are still people in the world so backward or so eccentric as to continue to believe. C.S. Lewis, T.S. Eliot, G.K. Chesterton, Matthew Arnold. So it is T.S. Eliot. So it is B is the right option. T.S. Eliot is the right option. Moving on to question number 321. In Dryden's Essay of Dramatic Poesy, there are four interlocutors. They were representing four different ideologies. Which of them expressed Dryden's own view? Was it Lycidius, Eugenius, Neander, Critias? So it was Neander. Neander to the form of Dryden. So here C is the right option. So Neander is representing the views of Dryden in Essay of Dramatic Poesy by Dryden. Next questions. Which of the following texts is considered the first example of post-colonial criticism? Harold Bloom's an elegy for the canon? No. Jack Lacan's The Mirror Stage? No. Clint Brooks, The Kids, Television Students? No. So it was Edward Said's Orientalism. Edward Said's Orientalism is the right option, and it is considered the first example of post-colonial criticism. Moving on to question number 323. The phrase pathetic fallacy is coined by Milton, Woolridge, Thomas Carlyle, John Ruskin. So it is John Ruskin. John Ruskin has coined the term pathetic fallacy in his book Modern Painters. Next question: Keats' Endymion is dedicated to Leigh Hunt, Milton, Shakespeare, Thomas Chatterton. So Keats' Endymion is dedicated to Thomas Chatterton. Thomas Chatterton is the right option. Keats has dedicated his poem Endymion to Thomas Chatterton. Next questions, and sorry, here is the explanations. Endymion is a poem by John Keats, first published in 1818 by Taylor and Hasey of Fleet Street in London. John Keats dedicated this poem to the late poet Thomas Chatterton. Moving on to question number 325. Identify the character who is a supporter of women's rights in Sons and Lovers. Sons and Lovers is a novel by D.H. Lawrence, and in that novel, okay, there is a character who is supporting the women's rights. Okay, so your options are Mrs. Murrell, Annie, Miriam, Clara Dawes. So it was Clara Dawes who was actually supporting women's rights in the novel Sons and Lovers. Sons and Lovers. Okay, this is an autobiographical novel written by D.H. Lawrence. So Clara Dawes is the right options. Sassoon, Siegfried Sassoon and Rupert Brooke. Siegfried Sassoon and Rupert Brooke wrote what kind of poetry? Light verse, romantic, political satire. So it is what they have written war poems. Siegfried Sassoon and Brooke had written war poems. Moving on to question 327. What is the title of the poem that begins thus? What is this life? If full of care, we have no time to stand and stare. So this is the poem begins with these lines that what is this life? If full of care, we have no time to stand and stare. Comfort, what is the poem? Comfort, no. Leisure, relaxation, tranquility. So it was leisure. Leisure is the poem. Leisure is the poem that begins with thus that what is this life if full of care and we have no time to stand and stare. And here is the explanation that the Wales poet W.H. Davies. W.H. Davies wrote the poem Leisure, which famously begins, what is this life full of care? We have no time to stand and stare. The poem's theme is reflected in Davies' own outdoor life, which was unconventional. Next questions. Complete this Shakespearean line, that is, let me not to the marriage of true minds bring. So you have to complete this, okay? Let me not to the marriage of true minds bring impediments, inconveniences, or each trouble. So yeah, the right option is impediments. True minds bring impediments, and this line is actually from sonnet number 116. That is sonnet 116. Okay, that let me not to the marriage of true minds, and let me not to the marriage of true minds admit impediments. So this is the opening line of sonnet 116 done by William Shakespeare. Next questions: who has defined poetry as a fundamental creative act using language? So who has defined poetry as a fundamental creative act using language? H.W. Longfellow, Ralph Waldo Emerson, Dylan Thomas, William Wordsworth. So yeah, the right option is Dylan Thomas. Dylan Thomas has defined poetry as a fundamental creative act using language. Who wrote The Winter's Tales? George Bernard Shaw, John Dryden, Christopher Marlowe, William Shakespeare. So William Shakespeare has written The Winterstells. D is the right option. Next questions. Which poet invented the concept of variable food in poetry? Which poet had invented the concept of variable food in poetry? William Carlos Williams, Emily Dickinson, G.M. Hopkins, Robert Frost. So it was William Carlos Williams who has invented the concept of the variable food in poetry. Moving on to question number 332. S has a superabundant wealth of words and superfluous ornaments. That is the exaggerations. Has a superabundant wealth of words and superfluous ornaments. Hyperbole, metaphor, rhetoric, overtone. So hyperbole is the exaggerations of an event. So has a superabundant wealth of words and superfluous ornaments. So here A is the right option. Next questions. How did W. Jordan describe poetry? An awful way to earn a living, a game of knowledge, the soul exposed, and exclusions of a language. So poetry is a game of knowledge. Who said this? W. Jordan. W. Jordan has said that he describes poetry as a game of knowledge. Moving on to question number 334. How does Queen Gertrude in Hamlet die? Accidentally stabbed by letters, drowns in the river outside the castle, suffers a fatal heart attack while watching Hamlet figure fight letters. No, she was poisoned by drinking from Hamlet's cup. So here D is the right option. Moving ahead to question number 335. Who says that good night, sweet prince, and flights of angels sing to thee to the rest? So who says that good night, sweet prince, and flights of angels sing thee to thy rest? Was it Fortinbras, Marcellus, Horace, Horatio? So it is Horatio has said that good night, sweet prince, and flights of angels sing thee to thy rest. Next question is, how many soliloquies does Hamlet deliver? 2, 4, 7, 9. So Hamlet delivers 7 soliloquies. So here C is the right option. Next question, what is the name of the play that Hamlet stages for Claudius in the play? That is Hamlet. Slings and arrows, Vice of Kings, the murder of Gonzago, slaying of Luciano. So it was the murder of Gonzago. The murder of Gonzago is the play that Hamlet staged for Claudius. So here C is the right option. Next question, Jane Eyre is a novel and it was written by Jane Austen's that is George Eliot, Charlotte Bronte, Emily Bronte. So Charlotte Bronte has written Jane Eyre. So here C is the right options. And then there is a novel by English writer Charlotte Bronte. It was published under her pen name. So Charlotte Bronte's pen name is Currer Bell. Currer Bell is the pen name of Charlotte Bronte. Next questions. Joseph and Rose is a novel written by Samuel Clemens, Daniel Defoe, Henry Fielding, John Bunyan. So Henry Fielding's first novel, probably it is Henry Fielding has written this novel, Joseph and Rose. So here C is the right options. During the period of which king did Chaucer fight in the English army for the 100 Years' War? 100 Years' Wars between France and England. So 100 years war took place between France and England. So and the question is, during the period of which king did Chaucer fight? Okay, so was it William the First, Edward the Second, William the Second, Edward the Third? So it was Edward the Third. So during the period of Edward the Third, the king Chaucer fought in the English army for the 100 Years' War between France and England. So B is the right option. Moving on to question number 341. To whom did Edmund Spenser addresses his sonnet sequence Amoregi, Lisa Boyle, Mary Jane, Queen Elizabeth, Elizabeth Boyle. So it is Elizabeth Boyle. Elizabeth Boyle is the right option. So Spenser has addressed his sonnet sequence Amoregi to Elizabeth Boyle. Next questions. How many lines are in Shakespearean stanzas? In Spenserian stanzas there are 9, 12, 24, 8. So it is 9. And the format is, and the rhyming scheme is A B A B, A B A B, B C B C, and C. So A B A B, B C B C, C. So Spenserian stanza has 9 lines. So here A is the right option. Moving on to question number 343. What is the title of the prose pamphlet Edmund Spenser wrote in the year 1596? The Visions of Petrarch, A View of the Present State of Ireland, The Ruins of the Line, or Visions of the World's Vanity. So it is the view, A View of the Present State of Ireland is written in the year 1596. It's a pamphlet written by Edmund Spenser. So here B is the right option. Next question. In which year did Edmund Spenser publish his poem The Shepherd's Calendar? 1568, 1579, 1597, 1585. So it is in 1579. Shepherd's Calendar published in 1579 is the right option. So by Edmund Spencer. Moving on to question number 3, 4, 5, and here, sorry, here is the explanation. The Shepherd's Calendar, a series of poems by Edmund Spencer, published 1579, considered to mark the beginning of the English Renaissance in literature. Okay, moving on to next questions. Which one of the following is an unfinished work by Edmund Spencer? The Fairy Queen, Amoralty, the Shepherd's Calendars, Astrophel. So it is the Fairy Queen. Fairy Queen is the unfinished or the incomplete work written by Edmund Spencer. So here A is the right options. To whom Edmund Spencer dedicated the work Fairy Queen? Sydney. Elizabeth the First, Queen Elizabeth the First. Okay, Queen Elizabeth the First, Queen Elizabeth the First. So it is Virgin Mary, Chaucer. So it was Queen Elizabeth the First. Okay, to whom Edmund Spencer dedicated the work of Fairy Queen? Fairy Queen was dedicated to Elizabeth the First. So here B is the right option. Next questions: under which pseudonym the work, that is the Shepherd's Calendar, was published? Okay, so Shepherd's Calendar was published in 1579. So what was the pseudonym when he had published this? Okay. That is, your options are Edward, Jonathan, Emmanuel, Imartio. So here is the Imartio is the right option. Okay, Imartio is the right options. Okay. Yes. So Imartio is the right option. So we have to question number 348. The first translations of the writings into English is the Poison Bread. The first translations of the writings into English is the Poison Bread. Who wrote this? Bama, Om Prakash Valmiki, Baburao Bagal, Arjun Dangal. So here it is. Arjun Dangal is the right option. So Arjun Dangal has translated the writings into English, and it is named as the Poison Bread. So here D is the right option. And question number 349 here. Who wrote these collections of story When I Hid My Caste? Arjun Dangal, Jyotiba Phule, Om Prakash Valmiki, Baburao Bagal. So Baburao Bagal is the right option, and he has written When I Hid My Caste. And today's last question, that is, which one of the following rhyme scheme is the rhyme scheme of Spencer and stanza? I told that the rhyme schemes of Spencer and stanza is AB, BC, BC, and C. So here AB, BC, BC, C. So D is the right option. So these are all 50 questions that I have discussed along with explanations. If you want me to make video on a particular topic, you can write it down in the comment box. I will definitely try to make video on these topics. Thank you once again for watching the video. Please stay tuned with my channel and not subscribe. Thank you.